Hey guys, welcome back to my next video. Today we'll be watching 15 killer clown sightings, so that's going to be really interesting. Don't know what's going to happen, so let's just get right into it.
23-year-old Nathaniel Donovan is an Afghanistan war veteran who has completed a tour in 2012. In early November of last year, he decided to do a second tour, but this time in his hometown of Chesterfield, Virginia, as a clown, carrying a huge knife. A school bus drops the kids off after a long day of school and drives away. The large veteran stomps towards them in a killer clown outfit while holding a knife. The kids start to run away from him, and he gives pursuit. Meanwhile, nearby parents were scared out of their minds and frantically called 911. The police showed up quickly and arrested the psycho clown without having to fire any shots. He now faces 2 charges. One is a serious felony that carries up to 10 years in prison and a $15,000 fine. Nathaniel claims that he did this just as a prank, but the federal justice system doesn't seem to be laughing. Now, I'd like to pause this countdown for a second and ask you all a question. Are you afraid of clowns? Please leave me a comment so I know you're safe. Me personally, I can't really be bothered. There's things so much darker and more evil out there. Anyway, if you're feeling generous, I would really appreciate it if you'd leave a like as well.
Yeah, you're not getting a like when this is my video.
And points a gun at the workers behind the counter, demanding cash. They quickly comply, and the killer clown runs out of the store with the loot. 2 customers pull up and start to get out of their car to go inside. He points the gun at them, shouts for them to get back into their car, and goes running off across the parking lot. Police later identify him as Todd Raymond Keith. They find out that he has been one busy clown. Aside from hitting up the local Walgreens, he had also knocked off 2 hotels, 2 banks, and carjacked a black Lexus in nearby Madison Heights. Somehow, he does all of this with a fake left arm. Just a couple of days later, a joint task force with members of the local police department and the FBI tracked Todd the evil clown to Ohio.
Guys, do not skip this ad. If you don't like ads, then you need to watch this ad. Are you sick of f***ing ads being forced on you?
He changed gunfire, and this time he gets away on foot.
Oh God.
Amazingly, it's the 3rd time he has escaped them this October. The other 2 times were high-speed chases, one of which was topping out at 120 miles per hour. There is now a $1,500 bounty on the clown's head, with no end in sight. Number 13. Clown naps. When school children began to see a creepy clown stalking them in a yellow van, the adults didn't think much of it. Even when children from 6 different local schools all started to tell their parents about the same strange clown following them around in the same yellow van, the adults still chose not to believe the kids' stories. Soon, the kids were saying that the clown was now chasing them all around town with a knife, but adults still didn't think that this was true. After all, it was May of 1981, and these kinds of things just didn't happen in Kansas City, Missouri. School would be let out for the summer, and soon the stories would all stop. They were sure of it. Little did the adults know exactly how wrong they would soon be proven.
Oh God.
2 sisters, one 6 and one 7, are walking towards their school bus one morning. Suddenly, a yellow van pulls up to the girls and stops.
Run away if you saw that.
Inside is a dark-haired man wearing a clown outfit. His face is painted white with red polka dots, and he looks extremely mean. He pulls out a knife and orders the sisters to get into his van, but they run screaming back to their house instead. Their mother witnesses the entire scene from the window and hurriedly lets the children in before the clown can get them. She slams the door shut and lets the horrifying reality set in. Now, she finally realizes that the stories were all real. She, along with countless others, had been treating their children like liars for telling the truth about nearly being killed almost every day after school. As for the clown himself, well, 2 words. Never caught. Number 12.
Oh my god.
On a Saturday morning in May of 1919, Marlene Warren hears a knock at her door. She goes to answer it and finds a friendly clown waiting for her in an orange wig.
That's one of
The
my
clown
most
has a
scary.
bouquet of flowers along with some balloons to give to her. One of them with a message on it that reads, "You're the greatest." Before Marlene has a chance to ask who these gifts are from, the clown pulls out a handgun and shoots the poor woman in the face.
Oh my god.
Her son hears the gunfire and comes running to the door. There, he finds his mother on the ground with a pool of blood growing all around her. The clown jumps into a white Chrysler LeBaron and speeds off.
Who
Police
does that?
later
Just
find that the clown
leaves?
didn't want to take anything from the house. All the clown wanted, it seemed, was to commit murder. Marlene dies just 2 days later. As police put together the evidence, they turn their attention to her husband, Michael. They know that Michael would receive a 5-figure insurance payment for his wife's death, and he would also get all of her property, as well as her lucrative car dealership and her car rental agency too. There's definitely a motive for killing her, so they start poking around to find out exactly how. As it turns out, Michael was having an affair with a brown-haired woman named Sheila Keane. She repossessed cars for Marlene's business and knew her quite well. In fact, according to police reports, people had seen Michael and Sheila eating lunch together every single day in the weeks leading up to the murder. Police had another important tip too.
God.
Just hours before the killing, a costume store owner called them and said they had sold a clown costume to a woman with brown hair. 2 store cashiers were able to identify the woman as Sheila Keane. Still, as strange as this coincidence is, it isn't enough of a reason to arrest her. After all, Sheila could have just wanted to buy a clown suit at random that day. The police keep digging. Co-workers say that she had dressed like a clown before, but they weren't able to identify her outfit. Still not enough. Next, the detectives identify both the flowers and the helium balloons as the same kind that are sold at a nearby grocery store called Publix. When they check the sales records of nearby Publix stores, they find a transaction for the balloons and the flowers at 9:22 a.m., just a short time before the murder. This store also happens to be right outside Sheila's apartment. 4 days after Marlene's murder, police find the abandoned Chrysler in a grocery store parking lot. Inside of the car, they find orange fibers that look like they might belong to a clown wig, along with some brown hairs. All of this is enough probable cause for a judge to grant police a search warrant for Sheila's residence. Sure enough, they find orange fibers and some brown hairs that look like the same kind of hair strands found in the Chrysler. Everything is sent to the FBI labs for further testing. As if this weren't enough, Sheila's husband said that his .38 caliber revolver went missing shortly before the murder. It was a very rare model. Marlene had likewise been shot with a .38 caliber revolver that was not a Smith & Wesson or a Colt, meaning that it had to be of a rare model too. Still, despite of all this circumstantial evidence, police were unable to pin the murder on Michael and Sheila. Apparently nothing came out of the lab tests, though the news reports never mention why. It was the early 1990s though, and testing methods were not all that great, so anything could have happened. The rest of the evidence was not strong enough to hold up in court, especially for a murder trial. As a result, Marlene's death was never solved. The killer clown never identified. Number 11. The Walmart Greeter. A clown dressed in a checkered outfit with a skeleton mask terrorized shoppers in a Walmart parking lot in Alabama last month. The clown loomed over people's car windows, stood behind them while they returned movies at a video rental, and ran around laughing at random. His behavior made at least 3 people in the parking lot feel unsafe, and 1 person was even scared to tears. Cops eventually arrested 25-year-old Rodney Allen Byram and took him to jail for disorderly conduct. He broadcasted a portion of the night on his Facebook account. Number 10. The Social Media Circus. One October morning, students from the Sierra High School in Glendora, California, are surprised to find a friend request from an unfriendly persona named Clowner Ho. The cover pic features the Joker along with his armed clown posse. Underneath are two disturbing messages. The first one's of a school shooting that will take place on the next day. It says that students should say their blessings. The second warning speaks of an even larger shooting that will take place after the first, and it advises anyone reading to either learn how to fist fight or shoot back if they want to survive. There's also an Instagram account by the same name containing more threatening pictures. Parents contact the principal, who immediately contacts the police. Authorities follow up on an anonymous tip that 19-year-old William Salazar is to blame and quickly get him to admit his guilt. The former Sierra High School student lives in another county and basically has no real reason to pull this prank, so many people think that his threats were legitimate. Obviously, the person who reported him thought so too. Real or not, Clowner Ho now sits in the Glendora City Jail with a $50,000 bail bond. Number 9. Highway Clowns. Imagine driving down a long stretch of road at night and seeing a mysterious clown staring back at you. That's what recently happened to a girl named Jamie Hill in London, Kentucky, when she was driving down Route 192 at 9 p.m. She saw a woman clown dressed in all black with a rainbow wig and a purple tutu standing under the road sign for West 80. Her face was caked with white makeup and it was all black around her eye. She held her arms dead at her sides, and she was definitely not smiling as the car passed by. The sight of a clown glaring at her by a busy intersection was enough to put Jamie into a state of immediate shock. She described it as something out of a horror movie and decided to take a picture for her own recollections. She really didn't think anybody would believe her either way, picture or not, and says she had no intentions of showing it to anybody. Only when other clown sightings started happening in the area did she step forward with her own story. Number 8. Warren.
Okay guys, I'm gonna stop that there. If I get like 10 to 20 likes and subscribes, I'll do another video on this. Hope you like it, hope you subscribe, and give me a thumbs up. Thanks, see you later.